All right, what's up, people? Welcome to a Let's Talk. I got with me ShadowFox.
A little stepped in the game. Was good.
So, yeah, we got a PS5 showcase, we got a Xbox showcase, we got Ubisoft forwards, we got Nintendo partner directs, we got uh, uh, Tokyo Game Show is going to be completely online. So, despite
RTX
all of that,
3080.
yeah, RTX 3080s that I still can't afford. So with all that being said, we're just gonna spend the evening talking a little bit about some games that we're probably excited for. Gonna try to keep this as positive as humanly possible. Um, just because of the simple fact that it's sometimes it kind of feels a little bit oversaturated on the negativity on the negativity side. So I'd rather keep stuff a little bit positive here. So the first thing I'm gonna do is hate on Final Fantasy 16. Nah.
Oh wow, that's wonderful. That's the way to
no,
start off.
no, no. Honestly though, so with all this stuff that's been coming out, like, has there been anything that you've seen like this summer during this whole COVID-19 in the streets situation that we've been having that has just caught you by surprise? Has there been anything, honestly?
Uh, as far as COVID-19 or just gaming in
No,
general.
gaming in general, because gaming has
Uh,
COVID has thrown all this gaming stuff off
so
brand, off kilter. So
everything I expect the unexpected now, and I expect the expected because of COVID-19 now. So like I expected the No More Heroes 3 delay.
yeah,
I expected a bunch of studios to not be able to produce any of the laying their games. And I was pretty sure that not only Halo Infinite was going to be delayed, but also the Miles Morales game and the Ratchet and Clank game as well, because of COVID. But it appears that push come to shove, Sony will ship a console. So they're gonna do whatever they can if they got to put Jesus on the cross himself to make sure they have a console out in November, because they can't leave Nintendo on the market alone for longer than 3 years. I mean, this is probably the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life. When Nintendo's like, "Hey, I have the market all to myself for 3 years," but yeah, Sony is like, "No, we can't do that." So
well, that's the thing. Like, I expected stuff to get delayed. I mean, 2021 is going to be ridiculous, just because I think a lot of stuff's going to come out, and I hope people don't expect like 2021 to be like how games going to be going forward, because a lot of those games that's going to be coming out in 2021 was supposed to come out in 2020.
yes. So do you
So,
think that means that a lot of games are going to be pushed to 2022 now, because the calendar is going to be so full that I don't think the majority of these publishers are going to be willing to put two
because they're gonna
titles in the
cannibalize
same
themselves.
month. Yeah,
They'll
exactly.
cannibalize themselves. So something is gonna have to give. We might, you know how we usually have dead months. We ain't gonna have no dead
Yep.
month. We're probably not gonna have a real true dead month. Like
Yeah,
usually we
there won't
have,
be a dead summer. There'll be a live summer, I'm guessing.
yeah. Because and I'm gonna go and say something because I know people probably gonna laugh at me when I say this, but I have a sneaking suspicion that Metroid Prime 4 is probably gonna come out next holiday.
I'm thinking so too. I'm thinking it's ready.
'Cause I'm thinking Breath of the Wild is coming out in March. Breath of the Wild 2 is probably gonna come out in March. I don't, and the reason why I say that is because everybody says, "Oh, well, they had to restart from scratch." I'm like, they didn't get rid of
They
all them assets. They
they just
didn't.
needed
Yeah,
somebody as far as project management goes to
yeah,
finish the project. Like
yeah. So,
it's
and they probably working on now since they got like the Halo creative director and all that. I'm like, they're probably working on multiplayer, if anything.
yep.
Because I don't think, like I said, when they gave it back to Retro had already came out and said, "Look, we already had the story already ready to go." So they already had the story ready to go. They're probably not going to waste the assets that Bandai and whoever else was doing it made. So I don't see them like wasting those assets. But that again goes to people wanting to see a trailer or anything, and I'm like, no, let them work the way they work. Just let them work the way they work. But
There was never a trailer for Metroid Prime. So when Metroid Prime was in works, right? it was still the third person action game that it really had the 3 female ninjas in it or whatever.
Yeah.
That Retro was working on, and all they did was take all the Samus art assets and create like a render. Like what you saw with Samus backing up and all the little zooter bugs or whatever being in the way and everything, and she blasting those. That never was a concept in the game. That was just art that they had created for Shoshinkai then at the time. Um, so what actually they were working on that was part of the game itself was something that was done internally, and we never got any footage for until the demo was available for E3, and
Yeah.
that E3 demo was everything. So I'm pretty sure that Retro Under the Hood, they still have all the gameplay aspects, the engine, and all that stuff still ready to go for, high definition or what have you. So I don't think that's gonna be an issue as far as actual game engine and gameplay concepts and the world maps and all. They have all those tools.
Yeah.
What I think the issue is going to be is them planning out how big this game is going to be, if there's going to be multiplayer, if there's going to be downloadable content, those kind of things. I think that's what it need to bring in an outside manager for,
Yeah.
because Retro hasn't done anything like this since before there was the huge DLC push and all those other kind of after launch type projects.
Yeah, well, everybody has to have DLC now, even on games that
Yep.
don't need it. I'm looking at you, Smash Brothers.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
so
But Smash making hella money, so it's
I
whatever.
mean, it's freaking Sakurai. So but yeah, and so I was thinking about that, and I was like, okay, so if I'm Ubisoft, I ain't gonna say EA, if I'm Activision,
She's gonna be EA.
if I'm Nintendo, Sony, Microsoft, I'm like, okay, so all the stuff I got pushed back, I can't cannibalize myself because that's stupid. And you don't want to oversaturate because in 2022 you ain't gonna have Jack.
Yep.
Because you're gonna be back to square one, basically. So the question now becomes like, what do we do? How do we do this? I'm like, the only thing I can think of is like instead of having like dead months, you're just not gonna have them. You're probably gonna have a couple months where you're gonna get a couple big games like a quarter. So you might get something in January, February, or March, and then you might get something again before or after E3.
Yeah. So while we're thinking about that, my only thing is the way Switch has come about, and with Breath of the Wild 2 being a near project as far as release goes.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, with the posturing of Nintendo talking about, hey, this is the middle of the ninth generation for us type situation, what becomes the swan song for Switch then at that point? Because you don't,
Uprising.
yeah, you don't want. So obviously the swan song for Wii U was Breath of the Wild, right?
Yeah.
For all
it ain't gonna be another
purposes.
Zelda game. It's not gonna be another Zelda game.
Yeah. So obviously it can't be another Zelda game. So what would be? I'm thinking at this point it has to be whatever the successor to Mario Odyssey is.
Because they have not talked about it.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure they're going to launch whatever the new console is or whatever that game is going to be. So I'm thinking maybe that should also be the last game for the Switch that Nintendo publishes, because you can't just end a console with Kirby. That's what they did with their mobile consoles. You don't end.
Yeah, you can technically.
I mean,
technically you can.
I mean, that's what Pierce Snyder said all the time. When you see Kirby as the near the end of the generation.
The funny thing about it is, and I don't understand how it happens, but people love that little pink Majin Buu.
So it's this weird thing where the games are super easy, but there's so much to find in each of those easy ass levels, but it takes a tad bit of skill and a little bit of time to find all those things, and that's where the difficulty comes in. So people somehow it's become just like how a Mario is. It's easy to play, hard to master. Only the entry gate for Kirby skews way easier. So it's literally like walk to the end and you beat the level, great. But for you to be able to get everything out of the level, you got to be able to master combat, master going in the foreground, in the background, and all this other kind of stuff, just to
Whatever
find the keys. So you can go over here to the secret area that isn't even hinted at in the game. Like that kind of stuff. I don't even know how to describe that kind of genius, but it is one of those kind of games, man. I'll play them, here and there or whatever, and I'm just like, it really speaks. It speaks to the completionist gamer. I think that, especially if you ever played one and you're like, oh, this game is easy, and then you're like, oh, but I need a star at the end of the number of this level, and the only way for me to do that is you're hooked. As soon as you realize that, it's a wrap. Like, so I don't know how. I don't know how. I think they understand that, and I think they're going to continue to make Kirby games that way. To be honest with you, I think it's hilarious that it just so happens that the majority of those games end at the end of a generation for a console. So
yeah, I mean,
it's weird how that works.
it happens because you know what I'm thinking what's gonna wind up happening with 2021? It's gonna be 2014 all over again.
Possible.
Remember how 2014 was like damn near the best across all systems, was damn near the best year in gaming?
Why am I having a discussion with somebody on Twitter about that right now? And they're like, "What else are you gonna buy in 2014?" And I'm like, "Let me list the 20
Bayonetta 2, Bayonetta 2, Smash Brothers, Mario Kart 8,
Mario Kart.
Didn't
Steam World D that year.
Sony had a couple big games came out 2014. Mm-hmm. Like it was across the board.
Across the board, 2014 was stacked.
Sunset Overdrive
came
out in 2014. There was a lot of stuff across the board. So I think that's what's gonna happen in 2021. I just think 2021 is gonna be way worse because the reason why it's gonna be worse is because
so many games.
So stuff had to get pushed back because people had to at the last minute do work from home and nobody had their procedures in place.
Just off the top of my head, you got Watch Dogs, Assassin's Creed, even though Call of Duty, the new Call of Duty Call of Duty Black Ops is coming out this year, it doesn't really start. It's not going to take off until next year because everybody's not going to be able to get a next gen console until next year.
And they're not going to want to play it after hearing what you can do with those consoles. They're not going to want to play it on this.
The majority of the spike is going to be next year for that game.
Yeah, because the hardcore people going to, but the way EA and Activision are talking about, they're not gonna let you get your free upgrade unless you buy it after a certain point. Like once it comes to a certain point, yeah.
Like my son, he spent $80 for whatever version of 2K or whatever he got. So when he gets the he downloads the PS5 version for free.
Yeah.
So that kind of situation, which is ridiculous. God, that's horrible, but whatever.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. But yeah, I think that's what's gonna wind up happening. But I also think, and I hope I'm kind of wrong on this because we haven't heard a lot about a lot of those games that I think would have been coming out, like Bayonetta 3. I think Bayonetta 3 would have came out this year, and it still might. We don't know because I told people, if you remember, they did the same thing in 2012. They showed that 40-second clip of Bayonetta with the blue guns. Then in 2014 it came out. So they did that in 2017. It's 2018 was when they did that. 2020, I'm like, we don't know. It may come out in November. We don't know because we didn't get a real understanding of. We got that trailer at E3, but we didn't get any information till they gave them their own direct for Bayonetta.
And so Nintendo and Platinum understand as well. You don't have to put on 5-6 months of hype. You can just say, yeah, it's out now. The thing that y'all were drooling over, y'all waiting on since 2018, is out now, and people would just fucking flock, like, because the internet persists. So it's not like you have to constantly do this ad campaign for this one game from E3 and here's the demo for this, here's the demo for this, here's the alpha for this, you don't even have to do that for those kind of games. Just say, hey, it's available, go.
Well, I mean, Nintendo loves to do that, especially after this last direct when they decide they want to drop 4 games the same damn day.
Oh man, what you saying? They like, hey, well, hey, there's a sequel to Hyrule Warriors. Also, it just happens to be the prequel to Breath of the Wild, and people are like, mind blown. Here's my wallet. Like,
Yeah.
it's just out of nowhere, like literally
Oh,
out of nowhere.
let's talk about that. Let's talk about the Hyrule Warriors, because the Champions Edition, that DLC, the Champions Ballot.
Wait, that also came out in 2014. But apparently there was nothing to buy in 2014 for the Wii U.
Yeah,
But anyway, that also came out in 2014. Millions of copies, but
yeah. But so the Champions Ballot for Breath of the Wild came out, and what made me mad was I couldn't play as the champions. So now they let me play as the champions, and people actually think I'm not gonna play as Urbosa the whole damn time.
everybody's gonna play as Urbosa. I think everybody will, just like everybody had the female twin in Astral Chain. Like, come on, we know what y'all doing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just not even gonna hide mine. I'm gonna hide it. I'm not even gonna hide it. Link, you cool and everything, but it's just like in the original Hyrule Warriors. I played as Queen Zelda the whole time.
Oh yeah, gotta
Like,
play as Queen.
Why would I play as Link? Link sucked in that game. when you actually break it down, Link sucked. Sheik was better than him. Zelda was better than him.
Linkle was in a lot of ways too, because she had.
First of all, Linkle had the AR-15 of crossbows.
Thank you.
With the blaxploitation thing of never having to reload.
There you go. Reload. What's that?
Yeah.
Infinite ammo. Let's go.
Infinite ammo. So I'm like, and I'm wondering, because I asked Vicky this the other day, because we did a quick little podcast about that. I'm like, I wonder if they're gonna bring her over, just to play like the free mode, because I'm pretty sure Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity is gonna have DLC, and I wonder if they're gonna bring her back over, but put her in that Breath of the Wild art style. Because I'm not gonna lie, it looks better. That game looks better than Breath of the Wild does.
Oh yeah, and they increased a lot of they made a lot of the art assets better, and I think that it's great that they took what looks like to me Breath of the Wild 2 art assets and put them into this game to make the prequel.
It probably is, because like when they did that, they were working off of art style they used in 2015.
Yep.
So people were like, oh yeah, well, like it doesn't look as good now. I'm like, man, yeah, because it came out 3 years ago, dude.
Yep.
So yeah, it's gonna be. I expect it to be a little bit crisper. And when they showed how it looked, I'm like, dude, this looks hella crisp to me.
Yeah,
so just judged by that trailer. So I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, I'm like, okay, when am I gonna get my Soul Calibur-esque Legend of Zelda fighting game? Because
I don't know if that's gonna happen with Smash Bros. Being around.
Well,
Nintendo, I mean, doesn't seem to want to go there.
Sakurai want to take a break. Let that man take 2 years off. He's earned it. He has earned it. Can't nobody else say that. He's earned a vacation.
Do you think that's why Nintendo let Killer Instinct get away?
I don't think Nintendo let Killer Instinct get away. I think Microsoft came in there, gave them a blank check, and at the time they needed the money. Because if I think about it now, man, Nintendo, like, I bet you Nintendo won't let nobody buy retro.
True. This is true.
Like, no, nuh-uh. Because, and my thing is, like you said on Twitter,
they won't let nobody buy Monolith.
That too. But like you said on Twitter like a month ago, if Microsoft, if you're not going to use Rare, give the titles back, sell them back to Nintendo.
Yep.
If you're not going to use them, because you're letting them go to waste. Like, you should have been on Perfect Dark 3 or 4 by now. You should have been on Jet Force Gemini 3 by now.
Battletoads could have been a whole nother beat 'em up, because Rare didn't even make that. So it's like, why do you even have them, and you're using their license and you're having other people develop their shit? Rare didn't even make that. Like, so that's so frustrating to me, because I'm like you have this studio with the talent and they're still making avatars for you? What are we doing?
And then the
one game, like
the one game they did, they have out now that they showed at their showcase, they No Man's Sky'd it. They came out right after that and said they don't know what the game is. I'm like, what do you mean you don't know what the game is? You're making it.
We're exploring gameplay concepts. You showed us a gameplay engine and you don't know what it's gonna do.
You showed us a trailer.
And
You
you
showed us
don't
a
know what it's
trailer.
so so you just showed us what character models look like. Okay, great.
All right, that's cool, but
That's wonderful. That sounds like a Ray Dream demo from 1996. That's great. But
I liked how it looked. I'm just like, but I'm not. You got to tell me what I'm doing, man. I mean,
exactly.
you got to tell me what I'm doing. I got to know what I'm doing. That's not hate. That's just like, why would you even show that? And my thing is, I'm like, Phil, I thought you would know better than to do that.
At least Ubisoft showed us that Skull and Bones was a game, even
Yeah,
though it disappeared. Like
yeah,
at least they showed us that was a game. They didn't just show us a logo or show us the art style and that's it. They showed what the vehicle combat would be, which is
yeah,
basically extension of what happened in Assassin's Creed 4 or what have you.
yeah.
At least they tried to show you that hey, this is a game concept. We need to make this happen, guys. And look at the graphics, blah blah blah. And people are like, we ain't biting on that shit. But it's
Yeah,
at least they attempted. Like
yeah, that's true.
Rare is like, you know us, we're Rare. This looks colorful, doesn't it? It's great. Oh, but yeah, the game part, it looks pretty, right? Like, come on, man.
I'm like, what the hell? I'm like, don't do that to people. Don't do that. I wouldn't even show that. I would have been like, look, man, if y'all don't know what it is, go back and work on it. And when y'all have an idea, then we can show that. Because like, you do not want to No Man's Sky this.
And sadly, they were the studio that did stuff just like Nintendo does. They fuck around with gameplay systems and say, hey, what are we going to do with this gameplay system?
Yeah.
This is a team. This is a team that, despite, like people keep trying to say that Nintendo hates emulation and they hate hackers and all this other kind of stuff. I'm like,
Man, every corporation hate hackers.
but Nintendo invested in Rare, and Rare's got their notoriety because they knew how to reverse engineer the NES. The same with Factor 5. They invested heavily in Factor 5 was key in building the GameCube. Like it just bewilders me sometimes when I hear they want to protect the IP, but that doesn't mean they don't go and look at people because what didn't the guy that did Virtual Console, he was the same guy. They used the same tools to do the VMs on the SNES Classic and the NES Classic.
Yeah.
So
well, here's the thing: no company in their right mind is gonna let you just do what you want with their IP. Nobody. No, take it back. Not company. Nobody is gonna let you do what you want. They don't care if you're a fan or not. They're happy that you're a fan.
Mm-hmm.
They're happy that you're a fan. They are appreciative that you enjoy their work. But they're not gonna let you just come in and do whatever the hell you want with their IP and make money off of it. And they will straight lawyer up and sue your behind.
So I saw you as a fly on the wall about this topic, but I didn't get to hear your opinion on it, so I want to ask you about it. How do you feel about Nintendo now? Because a lot of people are complaining that they wouldn't do what a lot of the emulators did, or what some of the hackers did that would take Nintendo's art assets and put them in Unreal Engine 4 or whatnot, versus what happened with Mario 3D All Stars. They wanted those games to be, but they need to be remasters and all this, and I'm like, Nintendo never said that was a remaster.
Yeah,
they called it All Stars, and All Stars was literally take the Super Mario World engine and put these 3 games on it.
And if you remember, the very first All Stars they did wasn't like that. They just all 3 games was on one cart. That's all it was. Cart. So now the second run they did, that's when they put like 1, 2, and 3 in the Super Mario World engine and did it like that. But like the first one, it was just all of those games was just on one cart. That's all they did. So I wasn't expecting that. They never said it was going to be a remaster, and I think that's why we have a shortened time frame, because something is a remaster, whether it's Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 or Mario Sunshine and Mario Galaxy 1 and 2. Something's a remaster, and that's why they said, okay, look, y'all can buy this, but you got till March.
Yeah.
And we don't want to hear your mouth. Now, the only problem I had was, why the hell y'all using Mario 64? Why don't y'all just use the Mario 3DS version?
Yeah.
The Mario 3DS version looks and plays cleaner than the 64.
That's the more modern version, yeah.
It looks and plays cleaner than the 64 version. That was my only thing. I'm like, if y'all gonna do that and just make it 60 frames, you're gonna widen it out to 1080. you could have just used the Mario from the DS and 3DS, the one that y'all did from that. So you should have just used that. But
yeah, they could have done that and upscaled it, even
yeah,
though it's a much lower resolution than even the
but
Mario
it was but
64
they
was. But you could
they redid the whole thing. So I'm like, that looks more presentable. It's
crisp.
like it's the same reason. Like if they would have put Majora's Mask and Ocarina of Time on Switch, I would not want them to use the 64 version. I would want them to use the 3DS version that they did, that Grizo did.
Yes.
I would want them to use that one. So, but yeah, they never said it was a remaster. Nowhere in there does it say remaster. I think the problem is people are so used to seeing remake, remaster now, they assume that every one that's going to be done like that from now on is going to be a remake or remaster. No, just like when you go buy your TV, you got to read the box.
So shout out to Nintendo Prime for that awesome video explaining what we just talked about in to the lowest terms, to the nth degree. That was
that's another thing too. I think sometimes people get too amped up on trying to be mad and arguing, because I'm like, once again, I go back to this example because it's appropriate. All them people complaining about Pokemon, that damn Pokédex, and how they weren't gonna buy Pokemon Sword and Shield, and what happened. That's why nobody takes you seriously.
Yep.
Because if you go like Induo, our good buddy Induo always say, vote with your wallet. Don't you ain't gotta tell everybody what you're gonna do. Don't go buy it.
All those people bitching still bought Mario All Stars, so they can bitch about it.
All I saw was pictures on Twitter of, look what I got, look what I got, look what I got. I'm like, didn't you say you wasn't getting it? Didn't you have like 2 or 3 videos talking about how this was just anti-consumer? I hate when people say
fake outrage.
Yeah, I'm like, come on. But once again, this is the same, and some of those people are the same people that was mad about Pokemon Sword and Shield got both copies and a Switch Lite that goes with it.
Yep.
And you wonder why Nintendo just we're gonna do what we do.
Yeah.
Or Sony, like, we're gonna do what we do. Or Microsoft, we're gonna do what we do. Because if you were serious, you wouldn't buy it.
Exactly.
If you were serious. I mean, I haven't bought an EA game in 10 years.
I never been in a situation where folks just literally pretend. Like, nobody's believing any of your complaints for the most part. I think that I guess the big thing is for Mario All Stars is Nintendo knows what to do, not only with their own IP but with their own code. So they don't want to do the half-ass shit that they see on YouTube. Oh, well, look at this. Oh my God, it's running perfectly in Unreal Engine. I'm like, have Link interact with the object. Oh, this arm goes straight through, but it's okay. It's fine. Don't worry about it. It's just he jumps and drags to the left. Oh, but it's fine because it looks so pretty. No, how about we keep things true to the original code? How about we do that? And if you happen to make the RSS look better in the process, great. But get the core game code down first. Make sure the controllers fucking work for once. That's one thing. Excuse my French, but yeah, make sure the controllers work for once.
Well,
which is
that goes to that guy that was putting everything in 4K.
Like, what are you doing? Like, why?
Yeah. But like I said, I didn't have a problem with that because what he was doing was just like showing the world off. And I'm like, you know what? That's fine. But guess what? That's not how they want to play. That's not how Nintendo wants to do Zelda going forward. It's gonna be cel shaded to have the fantasy look. They're not trying to do ultra realism. They're not trying to do that because elves ain't real.
Also in the fantasy look, like you see it in 4K and whatnot, and then you see the stats on the screen, and you're like, dude, you got 16 CPU cores. What do you expect? What console do you expect to have that right now?
Yeah.
Like even the new consoles out that are supposed to be coming out now, 16. They don't have 16 dedicated cores. They got 16 threads.
Yeah. I think it's what? So, I think it's 8 dedicated.
8 cores with SMT, and that's not guaranteed. It depends on the game.
Yeah.
So it's nah.
It's not. That's why you've been saying, if you're gonna do something, just build a PC. Me and you've been saying the same thing. Just build a PC.
Just build a PC, bro. Like, I don't. Why are you trying to do all that?
Yeah, if your main focus for buying the PS5 and the Xbox Series X is because you want to win the Power War, you're not going to buy a PC. That's how you're going to win it.
Buy you a 3090, play games at 8K. There you go.
There you go.
See if you can afford an 8K monitor. By the way, that'll be a car note,
that's
literally.
yeah, that's gonna be hilariously fun. But yeah, yeah, that's another thing too. We got to stop with all these buzzwords, following these PR buzzwords. But on a bright
HDR
note,
though, like we gotta do the HDR,
no, we don't. No,
120 FPS, the
man,
variable rate shading. We gotta do all those
I don't
things.
play ultra realistic stuff. So now, there is one thing because we both like our movies and
Yep.
our animated shows
Yes,
and
we
even
do.
some live action shows.
Yes, we do.
So I read this in an article because one of our favorite Spider-Man, Tom Holland,
Mm,
is that they finally started back shooting Uncharted, and he's playing Nathan Drake.
okay.
But supposedly Netflix is trying to do a live action Legend of Zelda, and they want Tom Holland to play Link.
I don't.
I don't know how I feel about that.
I don't know how I feel about. I can't. Let me process that for a minute. I can't. No, I don't. I don't agree with that one. I don't. I don't feel.
Here's my thing. Here's my thing. Tom Holland's a good actor. I
Yes.
do not. I am not hating on Tom Holland for that.
I don't want
My,
to associate him with Link.
no, but I don't want to. I don't want to be live action
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
if you do a live action, you still got to do CG.
A live action Legend of Zelda
Should be
would
like
be
Lord of the Rings.
like
It
The
got to be like Lord of the Rings.
Witcher. It'd be like The Witcher on Netflix with no talking.
Yeah. Well, no, because here's the thing, and I had to explain to somebody. Link does talk. The
Yes, he
problem
does.
is the game in the games you're supposed to be Link. You're the avatar. If you go, especially in Breath of the Wild, which I'm so glad they finally said that in Breath of the Wild. If you go read Zelda's diary, she says he talks to her.
Yes.
After he saved her life from the Yiga, he started talking to her. The only person he would talk to was Mifa.
Well, he talked to the lady at the ranch too.
Yeah,
The ranch by the river. He talked to her too.
he talked
Like he
to
said,
her.
"Oh, so you think blah blah blah
Yeah.
blah,"
So
but that's kind of it.
yeah, so he does talk. He just doesn't talk much. That's the thing. Well, at least that's how Breath of the Wild explained it. He doesn't talk much because of all that stuff he had to go through when people just was like, "Hey man, fix my problems."
Yes. And the
So
real thing is we've internalized his voice for
yeah,
20 plus years,
and
so
it's
it would be
nobody's
weird.
gonna nobody's gonna make it sound right. The same thing happened when they did Final Fantasy VII Advent Children. Nobody
Yep.
liked it. Nobody liked Cloud's voice when they first heard it. Nobody did. Nobody liked Sephiroth's voice when they first heard it. We kind of did like Tifa's voice because it was I forgot, was it
Oh,
Rachel A. Cook? Yeah,
that's
everybody
that's
liked Tifa's.
Tifa though, so
Yeah, so it was Tifa. So, but that's the thing. That's gonna happen. Me, I just don't want it live action because I'm like, I'd rather you just animate it
yep.
and do it like that because that way you can put everything in there you need. You can do the crazy magic. You can do the crazy monsters. I just don't want you to do a live action because I know what's gonna happen, and Netflix is gonna be like, "Look, man, we ain't spending all that money."
So
Now, this is
even back in the day when there was only two games, I can't think of the dude's name, but he voiced Link on the original cartoon, and then there was another actor that voiced him in Captain N,
yeah,
and neither one of those really matched either. And we're talking about there's a total of two games that
yeah.
Nintendo has produced with this character in it.
It was
So,
1 and 2. It was one and
but
two, and that was it.
it's
Yeah,
funny. It's funny because Zelda was fine. It didn't matter which
yeah.
character you picked to be her voice. Zelda was fine, and even in Breath of the Wild, like she's British now. Oh, okay, I'll take
Hey,
it.
I can work with it. I can work with it.
So it's like it doesn't matter where her voice is always linked because you are that character the majority of the time, and you've internalized who you are, and you personify him with yourself.
Which is
So
what
it's not
Nintendo wanted.
yep.
Which is
And-
why the only thing though, I do have one request. If y'all gonna have Ganondorf, since James Earl Jones is still alive, please just let him voice it.
Ooh.
Please let James Earl Jones voice Ganondorf. Him or Keith David. Him or Keith David.
Do I want Keith David?
Either James Earl Jones or Keith David. One of them two need to voice him. I don't just have him voice him. y'all can have somebody else in there to act and do all the other stuff. I just want one of them two people to voice it because I hate when they have a character. This is what I hated about Oscar Isaac being Apocalypse. I like Oscar Isaac as an actor. Does not have a deep enough voice for Apocalypse.
I think Keith David for Ganondorf, and I think
James Earl Jones for
God bless his
Demise.
souls. No, Orson Welles as Ganon.
Yeah, because you could probably use some old recordings.
Yeah, you probably could. Orson Welles as Ganon, but if I had the combination, that's what my combination would be.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like they gotta have a commanding voice. I can be sitting up here, y'all sit up there and give Chase Crawford, let him be Ganondorf. No, no, dude. Zac Efron is Ganondorf. No,
Oh man,
like no, man. Just James Earl Jones or Keith David.
yeah. I'm trying to think who else. Is Keith David? What's the other guy's name? Or Dennis Haysbert.
Dennis Haysbert, yeah, he can do it. Or T.C. Carter.
Yes.
Kratos in God of War before they, for some reason, decided to change him in the fourth one.
Go figure.
Yeah,
I guess since he's going to Ragnarok now, that voice matters. So it is what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is. Yeah, but so the other thing too is supposedly Nintendo is actually they have plans to do some actual anime, which I'm like, yeah, no duh, you should have did the Star Fox one. We already had the first episode of Star Fox. We already had the first episode of Star Fox. You ain't finished. So
Star Fox, Zelda, Bayonetta, go.
Yeah, and Bayonetta already had a movie that came out a few years back, and that movie was actually pretty good. Yes. Even though it was crazy, but it was actually pretty good. The one thing I was wondering though is like, because and I meant to do this, and I still plan on doing this podcast with Rule 2 Review, and that's Brie Larson wants to play Samus in a Metroid movie.
I think she would be good in a Metroid commercial.
Here's my problem. I don't have a problem with Brie Larson. I think Brie Larson is awesome.
But as Samus?
As I said, as an actress. But here's the problem. Here's my problem. I don't want Hollywood getting it. I want Japan to get it. If Japan does it, Japan will do it right. I don't want Hollywood touching it, because if Hollywood touch it, they're gonna push some kind of agenda.
You saw the first Doom movie.
Yeah, they're gonna put some kind of agenda that's just not gonna work. And because really, when you actually break down a lot of Metroid, most of it is just a revenge. It's just a revenge story. It's pretty much what it is. It's a revenge story that deals with PTSD and early childhood trauma.
Yep. It just happens to be with a super bionic woman with the power of 10 suns in her hand.
Yeah.
That just happens to be, that makes it a tad bit different. It's not just her going to counseling.
And on top of that, she actually has, like, since that blood transfusion, she's basically Captain America times 10.
Yes.
Well, people don't understand that either, but yes, she ain't normal. She ain't a normal human no more.
She's what, 6'8"? How tall is she now? 6'6", 6'8", Samus?
Nah, I think she's supposed to be like 6'4". I think it was like 6'4". Last thing
how tall she is.
Yeah. I want to say the last time I read it, because they put it in that thing before they did that manga in 2001. Mm-hmm. I want to say when they gave her the blood transfusion and she started doing the training, she grew to like 6'4" or something like that.
6'3" is what they say now.
Yeah.
Without the suit.
Yeah. So, and on top of that, she has enhanced speed, enhanced durability. She doesn't age like normal. she doesn't really age like normal because it's part of that Chozo DNA. So that's why, like, when you play with her as Zero Suit Samus in Smash Bros., that's why she's so much damn faster.
Yeah, they're trying to say she's over 6 feet tall in her suit. No, she's like 7 feet tall in her suit.
No, she's 7 feet tall in the suit.
Yeah.
The suit actually has like the actual rocket boots on it, not the actual. So it's kind of like, and that's the other thing too. I don't want them to Iron Man it.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, that's not how this works. It's not an Iron Man suit.
That's a tall chick.
That's why I don't want Hollywood to get it. I would rather Japan do. I would rather like either Gonzo or like what is it? what's the studio that does Gallup or one of those anime studios. I'd rather them get it and work on the story as opposed to like Studio Perot or instead of Hollywood, because Hollywood get it. I just got a bad feeling they try to over agenda it and they wouldn't even get to the core of what it is. Samson have some kind of relationship with somebody that she don't ever have. Really around being a British dude.
I think the studio that did Battle Angel or the studio that did Perfect Blue would probably be good for a Samus Aran movie, I think.
If the studio lets them do it right. But see, I don't think Nintendo will let them do it because they remember what happened to Mario Brothers.
Yeah, I mean, like this would literally be just the anime studio.
Yeah,
that would do it. Like not Battle Angel live action. Yeah. Like Battle Angel the actual anime.
Yeah, because I think Nintendo. That's one of the main reasons why Nintendo's been so protective of their IPs is because of that Super Mario Brothers movie that came out in '89.
But it has so many stars in it. It was hilarious that they were all attached to such trash. But
yeah. I think I've seen that movie twice.
Yeah.
Once, because I actually went to the theater to go see that movie. I will never forget. I was like, "What is this?" Like,
but
this is
you
not
know
Mario
what? You want to call it bad, and then you see a Dead or Alive movie or a Double Dragon movie, so it's kind of okay.
First of all, to be 100% correct, the Double Dragon movie is actually better than that. Better than Mario. Dead or Alive.
Yeah.
No, the worst of all time though, as far as like bad adaptations of anything, is Dragon Ball Evolution.
Oh God.
And Street Fighter Legend of Chun-Li, they fighting for worst of the worst.
Yeah, that was bad. Even the old school D'Souza Street Fighter movie was better than that.
Yeah, like
at least had enough tropes to tag onto.
The messed up thing was the director and writer of Legend of Chun-Li was ragging on the Van Damme Street Fighter, and I'm sitting up there like,
what happened?
The Van Damme Street Fighter, at least they knew what they were.
Yep.
They were like, okay, look, this is ridiculous, so we just gonna have fun. We got the it guy for martial arts now, action movie hero, so we gonna put him in it, and we just gonna have fun.
Which is crazy because he didn't do the most martial arts in that movie. That was the guy that played Sagat.
Yeah,
and
he did. And the guy played Vega.
Yes, they were moving.
Yeah.
That was good stuff, man.
And on top of that, when you actually go back and because I went back and watched it a couple months ago, it really ain't that bad.
Nah,
it's not that bad. The
ending was kind of forced.
Yeah, but it wasn't bad.
Yeah, if you rewatch it again, it's kind of like they did not intend that ending, but they had to get
do something. Yeah.
Yeah, and then they ran out of footage too because Julia died like towards them wrapping it up.
Yeah.
So
and that man did that fighting stage 4 cancer.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Yes, he did, and he refused. He refused to not do a full scene. Like he wanted to do it. Like so.
I ain't gonna lie though, man. Raul Julia doing the monologues was that. Yeah, they were ridiculous, but you believed it coming from him. Yeah, you believed it coming from him. Like that whole it was Tuesday. That's so funny.
Look, he is in Bison.
He done changed out the armor and got into that pimp suit. Yep. with that cocktail. Yeah, the day that Bison graced your presence, it was the most important day of your life. But to me, it was Tuesday. Like, God dang, that's some pimp stuff right there. I need to write that down. Yep. But yeah, that movie was. Look, I'm not saying the movie was a Oscar winner, but it wasn't as bad as people tried to make it out to be. And then you go watch Street Fighter Legend Chun-Li, and you like,
yeah, that was ultimate trash.
All right, Vega's in it for all of 2 minutes. Michael Clark Duncan, you freaking wasted because he could have been a good Balrog, but you just wasted him.
Yeah, so it made no sense at all. And then you watch Street Fighter, the animated movie, which completely dumps on everything. Yeah. So it's like,
and that movie still holds up. The one from '94 still holds up.
Still, like what I think it's 30 million views just the fight scene between Chun-Li and Vega. Like that.
That is still one of my favorites. even though I did like the Bison, Ryu, and Ken fight, that was good. But like all their fights in that was good. Even the
Yes.
even the 10 seconds of DJ beating the crap out of them two,
Yep.
two dudes killed in there. He was like, man, what y'all doing? So
So it's Street Fighter. It's either I think is it Street Fighter Alpha? One of those animated movies. It was one of the animated movies after Street Fighter animated movie where Ryu becomes evil, right?
Alpha, it was
Um,
Alpha, it was Alpha. That was Street Fighter Alpha.
that was like a 20-minute long movie. Like it was 20 minutes long. That fight was long.
Yeah,
That was a long fight.
but the way they did it, and I'm glad they did it like that. They kept cutting in and out, so it didn't feel that long.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a long fight because people forget Sakura gets hurt in that fight. King gets hurt in that fight. They killed Zangief.
I think they had to.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that's a 20-minute long. You're like, but the way they shot it, it made sense. The only thing I didn't like about that movie was they were using the art style from Alpha, and that art style wasn't good. Yeah, it just they had weird eye placement.
Yep.
Like
and they kept doing the weird shots where the surprise shot was one eye looked super weird.
Yeah.
And I didn't really take on that either. But the animation was good. The fluidity of the animation was good.
It was smooth. And like so I just wished Akuma was actually in it.
Yeah.
But that's another thing. Like, why hasn't they went back to that? Like, I would have loved for Capcom to go back to, because they had some good animated, but ain't nothing gonna ever beat Masami Abari and that damn Fatal Fury.
Fatal Fury was good.
Them Fatal Fury, the two OVAs in the
movie was good.
Man, that when Sakurai released that he was doing Terry Bogard, that's what I thought he was gonna talk about. Cause I'm like, most people don't know about King of Fighters, because I didn't know about King of Fighters or the Fatal Fury fighting games. I saw the movie first.
Oh wow! So you didn't play the games first?
No, I saw the movie first. My brother, he was in high school and he was like, hey, I want you to watch this movie that I got. And I'm like, man, what is this? So because he know I like anime. So I'm like, what? I'm like, who are these guys? I'm like, this is dope.
And so then you figured out how evil Geese Howard was.
Oh, Geese Howard's punk.
And so in the game, he's literally holding up a dead body and he's turned around and laughs at you. I'm like, okay, I got you.
That's why I was laughing when Krauser in the second one, when Krauser was just basically calling him a punk bitch.
Oh, but he's the ultimate being. Like him and Rugal, I think are, you know.
Here's the thing. I need more Wolfgang Krauser type villains in my movies, man. When ones that's like, I'm better than you. Like when he was beating the hell out of Joe, and he was basically
just
like,
for
Joe,
no reason.
You're like, Joe, you're being entirely too loud. I'm gonna have to tell you I'm gonna need you to be quiet, or I'm gonna have to ask you to leave. Like you're beating his ass. Like if you want him to stop being loud, stop breaking his arm.
You're like, no, I want to continue punishing him because he's not the chosen one. Only Terry's the chosen one. So let me make Terry angry by hurting your soul brother here. He's got to go.
And the funny thing about it was he does it in a complete German accent. I love that.
Yes.
So yeah, I like that character. I hate that they killed him, but I like that character. And that's how I got introduced to Fatal Fury via anime. I didn't get around to playing any of the games until I got to college.
Man, the games are out there, man. They're good. Yeah. They're good.
I did play Real Bout Special, and yes, Krauser beat the crap out of me, so much so to the point that I thought it was cheating. So,
but those games were intentionally hard anyway. Like it's just hard to do a super move in those games originally. So it's just
you had to spend time with those, and that's another thing. Like, and I do agree with some game journalists that like, why is it that Sakurai and the team at Smash Brothers make better art renders of other characters than the damn games they came from?
Yes, this is true. Even
Cloud,
low key, some of the artwork they redid for Xenoblade, I'm like, okay. And then you see Xenoblade remastered and you're like, I think Sakurai still did better.
Yeah.
Their planes looks really, really good
Yeah,
on
I'm like,
Smash. Smash for Wii U even. I'm like,
yeah.
okay.
So I'm sitting there and I'm looking. I'm like, okay, so what if he puts Sephiroth in this game? Like, is he gonna look better than? So like, because every like Min looks better than she does in Arms,
Yep.
and that's the typical.
Cloud
That's
looks
yeah,
way better.
yeah. I was just sitting there like, dude, okay, like how is he pulling this off? And I think most people would agree if you play Smash Brothers and you see like the third party characters, and then you go to their game and you're like,
And it's crazy too because they're not putting a whole lot of polygons into this. The
mm-mm.
the high polygon characters are in the original games. Like Arms, they're high polygon because all you see is the character the whole game. So you go to a lower poly count for a model, and then you could freeze frame the game at any time, and they just look flawless.
Yeah,
Like you move around them, the texture layers don't really jump. Like everything looks solid, and I'm like, so the original game was a fighting game, and Min Min looks better in this game with lower detail. I don't
yeah,
technically on paper lower
yeah.
detail.
Yeah,
I
I don't know what sorcery is in that engine that he's using.
It's
I don't.
it's got it's got to be whatever tools he's using for the art style. It's got to
Yeah.
be that, like, because it's obviously not the math. It's not
Mm-mm.
it's not the polygons. It's not any other type of weird shading or anything like that. It's just the art style, and I don't know how he just makes it look like super clean. Just look at how dude put seams in Mario's jeans. Like I
Yeah, yeah, that yeah. I'm like, dude, okay, all right. At this point, Sakurai, you just flexing on people now.
yeah.
you just flexing on people.
I don't
I
I don't know how he
Your
does it.
character look better in my game than he do in your game. Like what the?
And then the special effects, and you watch on freeze frame, you're like, that shouldn't look like it glows. It's a single frame, so it should be animated to simulate the glowing. But even with it's frozen, it still looks like it's glowing. I don't understand why is it tricking my eyes like that.
Yeah,
It's just Photoshop files. They're just layered in a way that look great.
yeah. I have to give Sakurai hella props for that. I mean, because at first I was like, man, no, they don't look better, and then I started looking like, yeah, they do. Facts.
They do. Yes, they
They,
do.
they,
Big facts on that. Big
they,
facts.
they look better. That's why, and I think we're gonna wrap it up on this. The last thing is, I really want. I know Sakurai said this couldn't be done, but I really want Nintendo to at least let Grizo or Panic Button or somebody try to put Kid Icarus Uprising on Switch.
That game needs a
Somebody.
home. That game needs a home.
I'm like,
Um,
look, the 3DS is discontinued. Please, just I will drop another. I will double dip for that because especially with putting it with the Joy Cons or the Pro Controller with gyro, I'll plop for that.
so here's my thing. There has to be. I think that Nintendo should not orphan these games. So at some point, there's got to be Switch, with a screen with this capability, or enabling this capability in titles in the future, where you have like you bring back Mario 3D Land and stuff like that,
Yeah,
and it has the 3D effect either on TV or on the actual screen on the Switch itself in
yeah, because
handheld
like
mode.
the 3DS, the 3D portion was just like it was layered backwards. It wasn't
Yep.
layered. It was layered backwards. But it's still like because when you played Dead or Alive Dimensions, it's still even though it was layered backward, it still looked like stuff was coming at you.
Yes,
So
because
they
you're looking into the
into it.
screen,
Yeah.
and so wherever if your focus is into the screen, then whatever is sticking out on the front of the screen will look like it's coming out at you.
Oh,
So
by the way, Koei Tecmo, please port Dead or Alive Dimensions to Switch, please. Thank you.
yes,
I mean, I don't need
Street Fighter
five or
4 too.
six. Yeah, I
Street
don't
Fighter
need five
4.
or six, but yeah, Dead or Alive Dimensions, y'all can port that to the Switch.
Also, why did y'all port Street Fighter 4 to the 3DS and you didn't port it to Wii U, or Switch at this point? What are we doing?
All right, Capcom,
What are
you're
we
on the
doing?
clock. You're on the clock.
Yep.
you know,
Your
so
your Monster Hunter will sell well if you tell us Street Fighter's coming.
with the and let me use my Ken and Ryu amiibo because I already got them. So yeah.
Yep. Put them in
So
there. Let's make
yeah,
money.
but yeah, I was wondering that because I was like, some of those 3DS titles I think would work and play well on the Switch, especially like Kid Icarus. That game was supposed to be on the Wii.
Yep.
A lot of people don't know that the game was supposed to have been on the Wii, and
But that was originally because of Factor 5 made that engine for Wii, right? Is that
I don't know because when from what I read, Sakurai had originally he had it working on the Wii. He had it working with the Wii remote and Chuck. That's why when they went in because they moved it to 3DS because Iwata asked them to because they was having. You remember when the 3DS first came out, it was not selling well.
yes?
So
So they needed content.
he asked him to instead of putting it on the Wii, put it on because that's what would have been one of the Wii Swan Song titles.
Yep.
That and Skyward Sword, but they moved it to the 3DS, and that's why people was complaining about the play style because it was supposed to have been Wii Remote and Chuck.
And it
So
ended up being designed for
yeah, so
yeah.
they had
You
to
need
rig it
a
to work.
circle button, and you don't have the second circle pad.
That's why it's like they had to rig it to work to make it work. Even if it was still like that, I still enjoyed it. But that's what I'm saying. Like if that's the case, then technically it shouldn't be too much of a thing to say that you can probably port this to the Switch, seeing as how the Switch is the combination of damn near everything that it never did, and the Joy Cons can work like a Wii Remote and Chuck.
I'm
If
just
that's
worried
the case.
about the 3D aspect.
Well,
It wasn't as prevalent in that game, but if they
yeah,
decide they want to port other games, like 3D Land would be a problem, I think.
3D Land would be a problem. I don't think Kid Icarus would be a problem because like the only real 3D I saw in that game was when at the end with Hades, like the
Yeah.
very end with Hades, like even the stuff with where with Viridian and all that, I turned it on, but I didn't really
You didn't really
get
need it.
I
Yeah.
didn't really get that sense that I needed it. Like 3D Land, you needed it. Uh Dead or Alive Dimensions, you could use it because they all the cutscenes and stuff they made use of it.
I
I mean,
dare say you needed it in Resident Evil Revelations.
oh
Uh,
yeah, because you had to judge depth. You had to
yes,
judge depth.
it was different in that game, and they ported. So when they ported it to other consoles, it worked, but they changed the depth perception. They flattened it out in a
Yeah,
way where it wasn't as bad, but it was critical on the 3DS. So and
especially toward the end of the game.
that game looks so fucking good. Oh god, it looked good on 3DS. Oh, that was one of the best looking games on
I actually
3DS I've.
actually went and bought it for the Switch. It's actually not bad on the Switch either, but yeah.
No, it's not. I bought it for Wii U, and it wasn't bad on Wii U either. And
Okay.
yeah, and you use the gamepad to move
The
around or
okay.
whatever. But on
I probably
3DS,
I probably should have got it for the Wii U. Dang it. I probably should have got it for Wii U. Oh well. Say
yeah,
la vie. Say la
it was
vie.
pretty good, and then you can kind of move and catch, because you got to take pictures of all the enemies and all that. So
Yeah.
it was pretty good.
But
I don't know if you can still download that though. They might have taken it off eShop, but yeah, it is
I,
what.
yeah. At this point, yeah, it is what it is. Capcom, gotta love them. But I think that's gonna do it for this. I think I'm just gonna call this Let's Talk Game Chats.
Yes,
So
yes. Because
just
we didn't
game
even
chat.
talk about how bad the PS5 launch was,
Nah,
or the
'cause-
pre-order
nah,
reveal.
because man, they ain't. Everybody that said their piece about it, they ain't even nothing else to be said. Because whether you believe it or not, everybody that's saying something about it, they not lying.
Yeah,
I mean, so and y'all know I don't like to be hella negative, but I can't even they not lying. They people who are upset have a legit reason to be upset. They really do.
yep.
But you should have saw this coming if you pay attention. That's all I'm gonna
But
say about that.
there's 15 million consoles out there. That's what Sony said.
You
15
do
million.
realize it's 7 billion people on this planet, right? But
15 million.
and and they all don't live in the United States. So
Yep.
yeah, that's gonna do it for this little evening chat, as it were. Leave a comment, let us know what games you're looking forward to. Would you like to see something remade? Leave a comment, let us know. Shadow, anything you got you want to pimp out?
No, not really. I'm in the middle of editing one video that I've been trying to put out for the longest time, but I've been putting out other stuff ahead of it. So that one will come out pretty soon at some point in time, and then I'll give my take on the PlayStation 5 scenario, if you will.
Gotcha.
And I'll give a long tech talk because apparently the tech talks are what people come there for. So I need to do a lot more of those, and I'll start talking about solid state drives and other additional USB devices that you can add to your newer consoles when those come out. So I'll put out a video for that again, just like I did for Wii U, Xbox One, and PS4. So I'll do another one of those videos as well. So look out for those on my channel, and yeah, I'll put them there. And do you play games, have fun, and to impress other people?
All right, and we'll see you guys on the next video. Wakanda forever. Peace out, peeps.
Wakanda forever.